Hi everybody and welcome to the third video on solving quadratic equations. In this video we have a look at some quadratic equations where the coefficient of x squared is not 0. So just a reminder that a trinomial factorising that we'll use has the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So there's a square term, there's a single variation of the term, and then there's a constant. And we are solving this. And to solve it, we use the principle of the property of 0, that if there's a product and it's equal to 0, then either the one factor A is equal to 0 or B is equal to 0. And this is a property that is only true for 0. So let us have a look at the first one. So we have 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 is equal to 0. Now what we would like to do is factorize. To factorize, we get one side equal to 0, which we do have, and then we look to factor that. We see if there's a highest common factor. There isn't, so then we're going to use trinomial factorizing. Please review the previous video if you do not remember this method. First, we write down the factors of the first term. So how do we get 2x? We get 2x by saying 2x squared by saying 2x times 2x. That's how we get 2x squared. And then we have a prime number over here, which is 3. So how do we get 3? We can get 3 by saying 1 times 3. So then the first step is to write the factors of the first term and then the factors of the last term. Then we cross multiply. 2x times 1 is 2x. X times 3 is 3x. And then we ask ourselves, is it possible to get the middle term? So the middle term is positive 5x. And how do we get positive 5x? Well, it is possible. We can get it by saying plus 3 plus 2, and that's how we can get 5. So then that is the sign that we then move over here, and then those two are our brackets. So then what we have is 2x plus 3 times x plus 1 is equal to 0. So then what we have is 2x plus 3 is equal to 0, which means 2x is equal to negative 3. And then we divide both sides by 2, and we get finally that x is equal to negative 2 over 3. The other solution is x plus 1 is equal to 0, which means that x is equal to negative 1. Let us have a look at the next one. So we have 3x squared plus 4x minus 4 is equal to 0. So once again, we write down the factors of the first term underneath each other, which is 3x times x will give us 3x squared. And then we write the factors of the second term under each other. So let's try 4 times 1. That gives us 4x when we cross multiply and 3x when we cross multiply. Is it possible for us to get 4x? No, not in this case. So these factors are not right. This is a method of trial and error, so we try different things. So let's try 3x and x, and let's try other factors of 4. Let's try 2 times 2. So over here we get x times 2 is 2x and x times 3 is 6x. We would like a positive 4x. Is that possible? Well, yes, it is. If we say positive 6 minus 2, and then we have minus over there and a positive over there, and that is then our factors. So what we have is 3x minus 2 times x plus 2 is equal to 0. Like I mentioned in the video before, we would like to do a quick check. So you multiply the two last terms in the brackets, positive 2 times negative 2, and then you check that you get the last term. And that's one way to make sure that your factors are correct. Then we have 3x minus 2 is equal to 0, so 3x is equal to 2. And dividing both sides by 3, we then get that x is equal to 2 over 3. For our second solution, we get x plus 2 is equal to 0, which means x is equal to negative 2. So we would always like to do this check, okay? It's a way to check that your factors are indeed making sense. Number 3, we have 3x squared minus 8x plus 5 is equal to 0. So again, we write the factors of the first term. So 3x times x gives us 3x squared. And the last term is 5. 5 is a prime number, so let's try 1 times 5. So that gives us x, and that gives us 15x. Is it possible to get minus x with x and 15x? No, it is not possible. So we have to try other factors. So let's try 3x and x. So what we have is 3 and 5 are prime numbers. So what we can do is only swap it around. So don't swap both around, because then you're going to get the same situation. Swap one pair around. So the 3 and x I'm leaving the same, but the 5 I'll swap it around and write 5 and 1. Then I get 5x and 3x. So is it possible to get minus 8x with this combination? And yes, it is. If we say negative 5 and negative 3, we'll get negative 8. So then the negative goes there and the negative goes there. So those are our factors. Let us write it down. 3x minus 5 times x minus 1 is equal to 0. What I'm going to quickly do is a quick check to check that our factors are fine. So minus 5 times minus 1 is positive 5. So that seems to make sense. So then let's carry on with our solution. 3x minus 5 is equal to 0. So 3x is equal to 5. Dividing both sides by 3, and then we get that x is 5 over 3. Let's do the other one. Or x minus 1 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 1. Let us do number 4. So we've got 2x squared plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. So once again, we're going to write the factors of the first term underneath each other. And then we're going to choose factors for the second term. So let's try 1 and 6. So for 6. So then we've got 12x and we've got x. Can 12x and x give us positive x? Well, the difference between them is way too big, so it won't. Let's try swapping it around. 2x and x and 6 and 1. Remember, don't swap both, only swap one. So then we get 2x and we get 6x. Can we get plus x from these two? No, the difference is still too big. Let's try different factors for x. So we for 6. So we have 3 times 2. So we have 3x and 4x. Can 3x and 4x give us positive x? Yes, it can. If we have a positive 4 and a negative 3. So then let's take over our signs. And those are our factors. So this here is a trial and error method. So sometimes your calculations might look like this, where you end up with the wrong factors a few times. But that's fine. Just then try other factors until you get your answer that you are looking for. Let's do a quick check to see. Negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6, so that is cool. Let us then say 2x minus 3 is equal to 0, so 2x is equal to 3. Dividing both sides by 2, we get x is equal to 3 over 2, or x plus 2 is equal to 0, so x is equal to negative 2. Okay, I hope you guys are getting the hang of it. Let's do the last one. So here we have 5x squared plus 9x plus 4 is equal to 0. So the factors are 5x, it's a prime number, 5x times x, and 4, let's try 1 and 4. So we get x and we get 20x. Can we get 9x from these two? Well, no, the difference is way too big. Let us try 5x and let's try swapping it around, 1 and 4 and 1. So we get 4x and then we get 5x. Can we get 9x over here? Yes, we can. If we say plus 4 and then plus 5, that is how we get our 9. So then that is our sign. So then our factors are 5x plus 4 times x plus 1 is equal to 0. Let's check. So 4 times 1 is 4, so that does work out. And then we have 5x plus 4 is equal to 0, which means 5x is equal to negative 4, which means x is equal to negative 4 over 5 when we divide both sides by 5. or we have x plus 1 is equal to 0, which is x is equal to -1. Okay, so that's the video on how to factorize when the coefficient of x squared is not 1. You just follow this process. It is a trial and error method, so sometimes you end up with the right answer off the bat and you're lucky, and sometimes it does take you a few more attempts to get that, but it is not impossible. Please note that this is not the only way to do quadratic equations. There are other methods, and if you feel more comfortable doing those, then please do. If you found this video a bit difficult, try watching the previous videos on quadratic equations.